Welcome back to the Celtics Nation Rise podcast, episode 71. I'm your host, Griffin Aldrich. Alongside me, we have our co-host, Luis Gomez. Luis, I tell you what, just before we start off the show, you've been killing it over at Chasing the Monster, so everyone go check it out. We have Lewis and David over there, two familiar faces. So go check them out if you guys want to hear some Sox stuff. We're right in the middle of a Red Sox game, but we're still recording. That's how dedicated
Yeah,
we are. But I have to ask first of all, how's your summer been? How have you been? And welcome back to the show. I tell you what, I don't think you've been on since episode 31, I think, or something like
yep.
that. We're at
Yeah, that was the
episode
last time I joined. Yeah.
71.
Yeah,
71.
that was. Oh, yeah, it's been a long time. It's been a good summer. So it's been a roller coaster with the Red Sox. I've been going to Boston a lot lately. So it's been a great summer. You already know I'm from New Jersey. So yeah, I
If you're
can't
out in
complain.
Boston and see this guy, go say what's up. I haven't even met this guy. Lewis and I, all right, you guys are going to get a quick story. Lewis and I have known each other for years and years and years.
Yeah, since
Since
2018.
2018,
2018.
and I still haven't met this guy. So I tell you what, Lewis, we're talking about, all right, since we're on the topic, I might as well tell it. So I'm going places, like I'm going to Florida for vacation this coming week. So I gotta make the trip to New Jersey, or I'm making a trip to Boston when you go, and we're catching a Celtics game or a Sox game.
Yeah, we
Also,
have to.
I gotta let this know for the viewers at home is make sure to stay tuned. I'm trying to think of content ideas. I'm wondering, because we're going to the different parks, Lewis. I'm wondering if I should wear the Celtics jersey, and if I see other NBA fans, I should interview them and be like, "What's your thoughts about the Celtics this year?" So stay tuned. Maybe we'll give a vlog and we'll talk about the parks. I don't know what we'll do, but we'll give you guys some kind of content while I'm down in Florida. However, let's talk about some Celtics. So, Lewis, you haven't been on here in a while, and my number one question for you, as we have a lot of news to break down. So it was funny. We were talking with Fleezas last episode 70, about his fandom, and we're like, there's no news right now. Episode 69 with Joshua Griffith, fake Jaylen Brown, we had him on, and again, no news. So we're like, all right, let's hear about fake Jaylen Brown, as that one was a fan favorite. You guys can't miss that one. Go check that one out after. Go check out episode 69 and episode 70 if you guys want to get some great access to those videos. So there hasn't been a lot of news, but we have a lot of news today. But Lewis, we haven't talked to you, before the playoffs start. So I just wanted, first of all, to know what have been your thoughts about this offseason. And we've talked about this, but we always love a new perspective. And Lewis, you obviously saw how the Celtics have been dealing with being over the second apron. We knew going into this offseason, and this is another topic, talking about Bill Chisholm. We've talked about new ownership, and we've talked about the Boston Celtics having to get under that second apron. And to do that, they got rid of a bunch of key pieces. And you guys know who they are at home: Porzingis, Holiday, the list goes on and on. But what are your thoughts on the Celtics now going with a new look and a young team? What are your thoughts on the offseason?
I mean, it's not the best losing those type of players. It's like, you know them, you know what they're capable of, but you know, I could kind of see where the Celtics are coming from. Like, they're young. When you're young, you're hungry and you want to prove everyone wrong. But it's also not easy for a team that also, not even 2 years ago, won the championship. But I could see where they're coming from. I am. This is not the best off season. This is not the best one. They even got rid of my favorite player,
I know
Al
Horford's
Horford.
still
Yeah.
undecided, but I know, Lewis, that's a guy that you've been so high on, because
Yeah, he's good.
if you guys aren't OGs, Lewis, give them your background really quick.
So I'm like a Red Sox fan because of like all the Dominicans that have been in Boston. Al Harford is the first Dominican to win a ring in the from the Dominican Republic. So that's like a huge thing. So we Dominicans support each other wherever they go. Even we even if it's the opposite team, I'm still like I'm a Celtics fan, but even if he's in the opposite team, I want him to play good, but to lose. You know what I mean?
Well, Lewis, I hate to we no keep going, keep going. I'll ask you after
But yeah,
because
like with the Red Sox, the same thing. Pedro Martinez, Manny Ramirez, Big Poppy. That's how like I grew my love grew for the like for Boston, and after they retired and stuff, I just stood with Boston, and I became not just a Dominican fan. I became a Boston fan, and I support the Boston in anything, football, that and basketball, anything. So that's where I'm coming from. I also love that Al Horford won the ring with the Boston Celtics,
he's
and
a
of
forever
course,
Celtics legend.
yeah, and of course he wins it in Boston. Like the first Dominican ever to win a ring wins it in Boston. When Dominican players have such a nice history with Boston related to Boston, so that's a proud moment. It sucks that he might not come back, but yeah, it's not the best off season, but at the end of the day, we gotta roll with what we have, and I was more I was more down, but until I heard Tatum. When I heard Tatum, I'm like, oh wait, he's a game changer. I know what he's capable of. So I was like, I got my hopes up, and I know having Brown and Tatum, he could help the youngsters, and you never know what could happen.
You never do. But a question I want to ask you, and trust me, we'll be talking about Tatum because he went on ESPN and we have some viral clips from Tatum. But a question I have to ask you too is, Lewis, we can't get into the flashbacks because the past is a past, and Lewis's rift with Curry is unmatched. But what are your thoughts if Al Horford ends up playing with Curry? Because that's very much so in the cards. I feel like right now it's retirement
Yeah,
or the Warriors. Like that's point blank where we're going. So, what are your thoughts if you hear the news Al Horford's going to Golden State?
I would not be that happy, I guess, but business is business at the end of the day. But I would support him to play good, but not to win. Him to have an incredible season, but just him having an incredible season, playing good, but losing. Because at the end of the day, Celtics, that's what I care about. And, the history between Golden State and Celtics. So that's not going to make me change my mindset, how I feel about Curry and the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah, Lewis. If you guys don't know, just go look at the shorts. Lewis is not a fan of Curry, to say the least. But I look at this as my thing from Al Horford is you have to look at this in perspective. I mean, he's gonna get a good deal regardless,
Yeah.
and I think this 1 year he wants to go play. So if he's going to go play in Golden State, he gets the bag. And it's just a bunch of over there. And this might be a controversial take, but it's like they're not letting the youngsters play. Now, this is where I come in part and look at what Boston has done. At least they're going for a change, Golden State, they let their team stay old. I mean, Jimmy Butler, he's not a youngster, he's still on the older side. Curry is coming up to his final days in the NBA, and Al Horford, if they give him the call, it for them, it's kind of the situation that Celtics were in a year ago is win now or rebuild. But even this offseason, you haven't seen them making drastic moves in order to become that team. So I look
Yeah.
at the Celtics, and we're going to talk about the press conference today with Bill Chisholm as well, the new Celtics owner. However, like I look at this and it's like I've had a lot of mixed thoughts about the young team, but after hearing what Tatum said, after hearing what Bill Chisholm has said, I've kind of opened up the door on the team. Now, I'm not impressed by the team, but no Tatum, what are you supposed to do? Am I wrong? Like, what are you supposed to realistically like? You're missing your
Yeah.
superstar,
Yeah.
and you have other parts, But it's like this is, and we've talked about this with the Red Sox. How many years have we? And I'm stealing this saying from Section 10, so I want to give credit to them because I've been saying it and saying it. This year for the Celtics is a bridge year. It's how it is. Am I wrong, Lewis? It's a bridge year until
Oh
Tatum
yeah,
comes back.
definitely. I'm literally getting those same vibes when the Red Sox started doing that thing, trading. There's like got rid of a bunch of players. It's literally it feels the same way,
But a little
but
different because they're
yeah, a
not
little bit
trading their
different.
core.
Yeah,
They're not trading their core, and that's what's most important.
yeah.
I think the Celtics core, and we knew this going into the offseason, the Celtics core was Jason Tatum, Derek White, Peyton Pritchard, and Jaylen Brown, and they've kept those four. And that's the most important. Those
Oh
four
yeah.
is the core. Like, whether we like it or not, that those four are the core. Like, all right, then you get more in depth. It's Tatum and Brown, but and then White's a guy who's in there too. Like White's part of that core. And it's like, all right, you got rid of Porzingis, who you acquired him from a trade. He was injury prone. All right, we have that one.
Yeah.
Then you look at Drew Holiday. It's like, all right, the deal is massive. He is getting older. Can we get younger? Yes, we did. We got Anthony Simons. So you just keep looking at it, and it's like, all right, we didn't touch these guys. So it's like, yes, we could be upset because you got George Niang, and George Niang turned into RJ Lewis, who was an undrafted player in the NBA, and you acquired him for Porzingis at the end of the day. But at the same time, you're just shedding salary. So we can't be mad about that. However, the point I will be upset is when Tatum comes back next year, and next year, because if you guys don't know, stay tuned in the podcast because there's some breaking news. But if Tatum doesn't come back next year, then and you're still not spending, then I don't know what we're doing. But I look at this, and I think we should go into ownership first then, because that's what we're on board, and that's what the press conference was about today. So I'm gonna pull this graphic up, and then Lewis and I will go in depth with it. But today, Celtics new ownership had a press conference, and I saw nothing but good signs from it. Now I'm gonna kind of debrief what I've heard. Now I did not listen to the whole thing. I know, shame on Griffin. I should be educated and listen to the whole thing before I come here and preach my argument to all of you guys watching the podcast. However, I listened to some great pieces of it, and one of the great pieces, and Lewis, you're going to be the bystander because I don't think you've watched this either. So if I sold you, let me know. If I sold you, let me know. All right.
No, I haven't seen it. I've been too
Yeah.
focused with the Red Sox recently.
Yeah. So let me know. It was held today. One thing I saw from Wick Grosbeck first is he hopes to get more rings. And then Bill Chisholm, one other thing I saw is that he is not turning down the fact of spending money at all. He will spend money. He said whatever it comes to put banners up in the rafters. So his priority, it sounds like, is to win. And I know Seamus has a very different perspective on it. When you come in, you want to sell the fans. You're not going to just come in and say, hey, we're not going to spend, we're not going to sell the team. However, what he said, and he's a younger guy, and no shade to John Henry at all, but I think he's a little older. And he's hiding for the fact more. However, Bill Chisholm is a young guy, and if he does not do what he says, I feel like there's going to be a lot more backlash on him. Plus, I really think from a Boston guy grown and raised and having Wick Grosbeck, obviously we heard that Wick Grosbeck earlier in this season decided to step away from the team faster. So Bill Chisholm already, and I forgot who came on here and said this, but it explained it great, was because Bill Chisholm is like the guy who David said it. Thank you, David. Thank you, David. That's who it was. Bill Chisholm. It's like this: you get a whole new mansion, and the old owner is like, "All right, I'm gonna take one of these rooms until I get a new house." It's like, no, the new owner wants that whole mansion. Like, that's point blank what it is. So realistically, he wants to have fun with his new team. So I look at that and I look at the perspective that it just seems like he was so convincing. I mean, this is a Boston guy. This is a Massachusetts guy born and raised here. And he wants the team to succeed. I mean, from what I'm seeing, it's very promising. Now, we could be here a year from now or a couple months from now, and I could be eating my words. I could totally be eating my words. But from what I've seen in this press conference, it seems pretty promising. But what are your thoughts on the new ownership? And Lewis, I just want to hear a Red Sox perspective because I know you've been battling with the Red Sox as we all have as Red Sox fans because there's been key pieces that you see gone. And we know
Yeah.
from Boston fans how scary it is with ownership. Now now it's not even ownership because we knew in what we expect with Boston. Like we were not afraid to spend. However, now it's in the hands of new ownership. So, what are your
Mhm.
thoughts after what happened with the Red Sox, and what are your perspective? Do you see a positive sign from this, or is this negative for you?
To be honest, I feel like it is positive. Um, in a way that we didn't know, we still don't know when Tatum is gonna come back,
Mhm.
and we also got rid of players and stuff like that. So you also like I could see why a new ownership is doing like a cleanup. But the good thing is that they're staying with the superstars, with Brown, with Tatum. That's a good sign. The Red Sox got rid of the superstars.
Like from point blank, and it wasn't like different ownership. The ownership's been
Yeah,
the same for forever, but it's like it was Heim Bloom, if I'm misunderstood. No, Heim Bloom got
yeah,
the
he was a
GM
G.
spot, and then he's like, let's move on for Mookie. And I think that was a collective thing. But I think the safe thing to say is the next 5 years. Can I say that?
Yeah,
5 years? But keep going. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
no, no. So I feel like it's more about like he's he has his team now. He wants to do everything his way. He doesn't wanna. It looks like he doesn't wanna mid spend money. He wants to do it in a smart way, and I that's how I feel about it. That's the type of vibe that I'm getting from him. Like, oh, I'm not gonna go crazy and spending money. No, not yet. But I do like that he's staying with the superstars. I love that because Tatum is Tatum at the end of the day. But he got rid of who he got rid of. But I feel like it's not gonna be like the Red Sox situation. You get me? That
Yeah.
they don't want to spend. I feel like he's gonna spend, but he's going to spend smart, and he's not gonna misspend money. So
And can I say something too, Lewis? And
yeah,
correct me if I'm wrong, but in a season where you're unsure if Tatum's going to come back or not, why would you go all in and spend on a year where it's like, we don't even know if our superstar is going to be back this season? So
yeah,
it's like,
that's true.
what are your thoughts? Keep going. Sorry.
No, 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 that's true. What you're saying right there is very true. It's like if you're going to spend money, you wanna at least know you want to have your superstar player in the lineup. But
Exactly. Right.
yeah,
Point blank. And that's the thing. That's why a lot of people are going to look at this offseason and be like, hey, I'm not watching the Celtics because they're putting out young guys that maybe won't win, maybe won't be a championship contender. However, your number one superstar is not in the lineup this year.
yeah,
So it's like that's the pushing thing. With the Red Sox, we never, we saw that one bad season in 2019, and then they're like, all right, time to scrap what we're doing, rebuild. It's point blank what it was. However, with the Celtics, your number one superstar is out of the lineup, potentially for the year. But I look at this and it's like, these are guys like I look at Luca Garza, for example, one player I'm going to pull out of Luca Garza. I'll even throw Amias Queta in there. Those are two guys who are very unproven at the center position. I look at those two guys and Amias Queta, he had Porzingis ahead of him. He had Al Horford ahead of him. And who else last year? I'm trying to think. I can't think. Who else did we lose from the big man position? I can't think. Why can't I think? Oh, and Luke Cornett. Sorry, Luke. I love you. But he had three guys ahead of him in the rotation. He didn't get a lot of playing time. He's been killing it in Portugal right now. That's a guy who can come in and really be aggressor and show his true potential. I saw him play in Maine. That's a guy that I like to see and I've kept my eyes on. That's a guy that can grow and gives me Robert Williams vibes. I remember, Lewis, when we were doing this podcast last October, and I was like, Namias Keita, watch out for him. He gives me Robert Williams vibes. You've heard me say it
Yeah,
ever since I started this podcast, but now is his time to shine. Luka Garza, he was behind guys like Nas Reed, Carl Anthony Towns, and guys such as those, Rudy Gobert. He was behind guys like that. Now he has an opportunity to show himself, and these are guys who could build and become studs and stars and into your lineup. So I like that perspective. Josh Minott, he's still a young guy, 22 years old. They're mixing it up, and then they got some young rookies. So I like the fact of them being young. I like the fact of them being young, and it's not like players out there that it's like, all right, they got. It's like this: if they threw Kenny Lofton in there, all right, maybe there could be a spark. But he just played overseas a full year, and he won MVP. However, can he compete at the NBA level? That's a conversation to have. However, they're grabbing guys, and even Charles Bassey. I think they saw, all right, he was a great sub for Victor Wembanyama when he was out, and he did do very good in the summer league. However, we have more trust in guys like Namias Keita and Luka Garza, and those are guys that we want to see come into the lineup because they have yet to prove themselves. But what are your thoughts? I mean, do you like the young aspect of this? Because think about this. This is the thing I want to ask. Do you like the upside of these are guys that are unproven? And like, because the thing is, if you have an example, if you have a sample size and they're proven and it's like, all right, there could be something there, but we don't know. But this guy, it's like they've never even got an opportunity. We're going to feed them
yeah.
that opportunity now. What are your thoughts?
I'm a big fan of that. I like giving them a chance. I mean, at the end of the day, this is a league for young kids. You get me? And
Mhm.
you gotta give them the shot. You gotta give them to them,
If
and
not, if
they
not,
will learn. And if they can't be in the league, they will go back to Maine. But yeah, but like you gotta give them a shot, the opportunity because you never know, and they also learn, especially this year because it seems like we're doing more cleaning.
it's experimental year.
Yeah,
Exactly.
but then next year Tatum is 100% healthy, and we could start spending. And we also know which youngster put in the work. Like, oh, this kid did amazing. I want to stay with him. I want him in my roster. You know what I mean? If one of them like didn't perform good, we know what to do with him. Like, get rid of him or something. But I know a lot of fans are gonna be like, oh, I'm not watching the Celtics this year. They didn't spend money, but sometimes we cannot be like you don't want to spend money like that. You get me? It's you gotta be smart because this is not only for this year. There's gonna be Celtics in 2027 and 2030, and you want to be smart. You get me? And putting the future there. That's literally we're literally testing the future right now, and we're gonna see who's gonna stay or not, and who's gonna be a really good player or not. And so I'm aboard with this. I really am. 'Cause I'm a big fan of that. I am, especially. I mean, have you have seen the Red Sox for the last 3 years? We're literally depending on prospects, Rafaela, Durant, everyone literally, except Bregman's story. But that's I'm a huge fan of that, and that's how you start like a good thing like for many years. And I feel like this is the perfect timing. Tatum a little bit hurt. He might not. He might come back, but we don't know when. So you also want Tatum 100% there. So you don't want him. You don't want him 90. You want him 100%. So he's gonna take his time with that. But at the end of the day, we don't know when he's coming back.
Yeah,
So it's just I feel like this is a great year for them to experiment and let's see how far they could take this. Uh,
exactly.
And yeah, and if Tatum is 100% at some point, maybe they could do a trade. You never know. Maybe they could add someone and try to boost the lineup. But I feel like we shouldn't give up. You get me? Because
Like how the Celtics.
The Celtics have always been there for us. Don't they make always the playoffs? They do.
They do.
And because of this
Even
year,
in their off years.
yeah,
Even in their
yeah,
off years.
yeah. So and only because they're doing like a cleanup this year, doing something new for the first time in a while. It doesn't mean that I'm not watching this up. We shouldn't be like that because we also gotta understand that this is part of the process. And I like at some point this was gonna be part of the process. At some point,
Yeah.
yeah,
No,
it is, and this is the perfect timing. Your superstar player is not even 100% healthy. He's not even gonna be in the opening day lineup. So you know what I mean. So this is a perfect timing to do this experiment, and then for the future, start spending.
no, you hit the nail on the hammer, the whatever, however you say that slogan. But Lewis, I have to say too, the casual fans won't be watching the Celtics season because they'll count them out. However, I wanted to point out something interesting too, and this might just be a conspiracy theory, but Lewis, I want you to see if I'm on to something. I don't know if I am or not, but one thing that really sparked my interest with Josh Minott and Luca Garza was their contracts. They signed them to 2 years, two minimum contracts. And I like that because, for one, and Seamus has talked about this, the risk is low because it's just a little bit of money. I mean, 2.5 for both of them, I think, something like that. So the
Mm-hmm.
money is low, and that's a contract where it's like if you give them a one and done year, it's like, all right, if they pop off and have a good season, they're going to be expensive. However, if you give them like a 4 year contract, it's like, all right, now we're relying on our whole next 4 years, the prime of our superstars, to be with these guys. So it's like they're giving trust in them because they want them to come play with Tatum next year. However, they're not going above and beyond and being like, hey, we're going to give you this deal and you're going to be our next star center, for example, with Luca Garza. So that's what the upside I like about that. Do you see that kind of? Or because I looked at the contracts they gave Luca Garza and Josh Minott, and those are both contracts where it's like 2 years and minimum contracts. I look at that and it's like, all right, they show they could compete this year. You give them an experimental year with Tatum, and then if that's not it, they're out the door. You go and pick someone off of the free agent market if Bill Chisholm is willing to spend like he said he is. And I'm gonna quote now to the. All right, we'll kind of switch it up, but we're still talking the same thing.
Yeah.
Jason Tatum said one quote, and I did not put this down, and I wish I did during the ESPN thing. So Jason Tatum was on ESPN with Stephen A. Smith, and we're going to get into something after, which will be a long conversation, I believe. However, he said when they asked, what are your thoughts about, trading Drew Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis, the whole team looks different, and it's a young team. Jason Tatum said, the team's young, but being a Celtic and putting on a Celtics uniform, you're willing to compete every night. And those are not his exact words. So quote me because I'm wrong. But he said in that interview, when you wear that, you're expected to play to a high expectation every night. And it's like you have to be playing 100% because if not, you're going to hear it from the fans. So I love that saying from him because I look at it and it's like, even if they have a young team, they're going to still go out there and try to compete because they're the Boston Celtics. It's like the Red Sox, for example, but they've had a lot of backlash on it. And you've seen how the fans have held them accountable when they have sucked. And that's just the truth.
Yeah.
Celtics fans will not let the players suck because they're going to hear it every night, every night. And it's like, it's the matter of can they handle the pressure or not? But I like what Tatum said. But what are your thoughts on that? Like, it's the fact of the expectations putting on that jersey every night. What are your thoughts?
I mean, he's right. It's like It's different playing in a more like in a city like Boston. It's different, it's not easy, and I could understand where he's coming from. Like these youngsters are going to have a different type of it's going to be a different type of basketball for them because it's more important. They're playing for a historic franchise. It's different, and at the end of the day, that's like I feel like that will push them to try their best because they know the responsibility. They know how it is over here in Boston. We don't. The fans don't play around. You will hear it from them right away, and trust me, they will be on top of that. And that's a good thing because they don't want to perform bad. You get me? They don't, and they definitely don't want to go back to Maine. So I feel like that could be a motivation for them to like to try to for them to try their best and not to fool around because the Celtics is a historic franchise, and who wouldn't want to play with them for them?
Yeah, exactly. And like young guys, like for example, that they're rookies that they got, such as Hugo Gonzalez and Max Shulga and Amari Williams, who will probably see a lot of time with the Boston Celtics. And you said it, if they don't play up to expectations, they're going to get sent back down to Maine. And the other guys, such as Luca Garza and stuff, if they don't play up to expectation, they might cut you and look for the next guy. It's just how it is, and that's why the Celtics hold them to such a high standard. But Lewis, before we move on to the next topic, too, I want to ask you because I've been playing around with this, and Seamus and I have been talking about this, and I think our next podcast, quote me if I'm wrong, I might be wrong with this, but our next podcast, because I'm going on a trip, like I said earlier, is we might be doing predictions, seeding predictions. But what do you think with this Celtics team? Where do you think they fall to? Because I mean, they're still competitive, but they're not the best. And I look at this. We were playing around with as as little as the 3 seed, as high as the 3 seed, but as low as the seventh or 10th seed. But where do you think they fall this year?
To be honest, I got no clue at all.
If you had to give
I gotta
a
see the
throw out,
team. Maybe seven, maybe seven. But I feel like I gotta see the team first, like starting in the lineup and stuff like that. Like when the season starts, I gotta see how they play. But I
and
will
play
give them a
together.
set. Yeah, I gotta see that first. How we will play without Tatum. I know with having Tatum in the lineup will help a lot, but we don't have him, so I got no clue. I will pick the seven, but it could maybe go higher or lower depending on what type of performance how we perform.
I agree. And we will give you guys that coverage on predictions when the season draws closer. However, as of right now, we're just chopping it up, giving it to you. And I look at it every time I'm trying to make my season predictions. It's hard. And I will say, like, there are teams to look out for in the East. So be aware of that. And we will give you guys that sometime soon. But with that being said, here's the next topic. And this is the one where we've been putting in quotations with Tatum. Will he come back this year? Because he said another interesting thing in this video that was released by ESPN. So I'm going to pull it up. And this is a quote that he said. First of all, because Stephen A. Smith said, "You're out for the season, da da da." And then Jason Tatum bounces back with one thing and he says, "I haven't said I'm not playing this season." And then he says, "I haven't said it." And then obviously he goes into the little rant about, how obviously he's trying to come back healthy, da da da, the recovery's long. But I have to say, Lewis, after this Achilles tear, we all put out that he's not playing next season. However, he is really
Yeah,
ahead of schedule. But I mean, you could throw me your thoughts and I'll counter it. I think I'm still worried about that, but I want to hear your thoughts. I'm not going to tell you what I think till after. You guys have all heard about what I thought, but I want to hear what you think. Do you think if Tatum If Tatum feels he is ready, should Tatum come back or should he sit the whole season? What are your thoughts?
I mean, if Tatum is doing, if he's 100% good, he should come back, but only 100%. He's a superstar. I'm not gonna risk it. Even as a coach, I wouldn't want him there if he's not 100%. I want him 100%. And he's a superstar. He's really young, and Tatum is just gonna get better and better over for the next few years. So if he's not 100%, then no, just take it easy this year and do what you gotta do. But if he's 100%, I would bring him in. I would, depending on how our team is performing, depending on what seed we are and stuff. That could be like a help, could boost us up because Tatum is a superstar, and wherever he goes, you could tell he makes a difference. But I wouldn't rush him. I don't want him to be rushed. Like I don't want him. I don't want him to be rushed. Like, oh, he's like, I don't want him to be rushing himself because he shouldn't. He should just take it nice and slow, and and if he's good, and if at some point he's good, we will take him. If it takes him more time, then also he could take his time as well. But I was, I thought he was out of this after his injury. I thought he was out.
Yeah. He's
And he literally shocked me after hearing that in ESPN. But I thought he was out for the year.
yeah. Well, it's been unclear, and Brad Stevens, nor Tatum, or anyone has, or Shams has even given us a timeline with Jason Tatum. But I look at this, and it's like, all right, it happened at the beginning of the offseason, so you have all offseason. However, Achilles, that's a big injury, and that's a big one
Yeah.
to recover from. So you look at it, and I look at this, and I think I'm still like I see the progression. I'm not his doctor, so I can't say if Tatum's ready to play or not because I am not in the medical field. I have not studied that. Do I know if Tatum's ready or not? No. I'm just a guy who's filming a podcast for the fans at home listening and
I
giving me.
wish I could help him out.
I do.
I
I
wish I could
I'm
help.
gonna
I
say,
wish I could was there. I wish I was there right now with him.
I know I'm gonna say what Fleeza said on last podcast. Tatum, I'll
Like
give you my Achilles. I'll be pirate like for you.
I would literally massage him.
Yeah, I'm helping
I
him
would,
out.
I would take care of him. Give him a sip of water and stuff. Hell yeah.
We,
I
we
want. I
gotta
want
we
him.
gotta get
Yeah.
Tatum back on that floor. I tell you what, you gotta do what it takes. If we have to give Tatum massages, is that what we're doing, Lewis?
I mean, yeah, whatever it takes. And also another thing is that he's in Boston. We have the best medical in the
We do.
United States. So it's like he's also young. So I wouldn't be surprised because we're the best at that. You get me?
He's ahead of schedule by far. I have to say, like every time I see this guy out and about, he's already shooting hoops. Like this guy has been so motivated to come back, and this is the thing, and this is what worries me though, is every time Tatum has an injury, he rushes to come back, and I feel like it makes it worse. So I'm
Mm,
telling you, I love Tatum, and I really knock on wood. I hope this is not the case, but I really hope when he's at the end of his career, it's not just injury after injury. But I don't think it will go that way. But I'm just saying, because this guy, his expectation to play, I mean, we are talking about this against the Phoenix Suns, how he went down with an ankle injury against the Kings last season. And then boom, next night he's jumping up in the air trying to play that night, and he has a reason though. His reason is, I fans pay top price to come see me play, and I want to be out there to play, which is a great thing. But worry about your health first. If I'm paying, I'm gonna be a little disappointed if I go to a Celtics game and I'm not watching Tatum. However, I care about you, Jason Tatum. Rest
yeah,
up,
health go first.
rest up.
I'd rather
Uh,
not see him
it-
as long as he's fully healthy and resting. I'd rather not see him.
You're right. And that's why I'm like, this is my perspective. Again, I'm not a doctor, but this is my perspective. I think it's true. Like, I know people are going to knock on it and be like, you're not a doctor. But I look at this. You
We
give
also have the best drugs in Boston.
we, you got to phrase that better. They have, you got to phrase that better, Lewis, because
Yeah, you see that he's ahead of this injury. It's because we have the best drugs in Boston,
medical
best
drugs.
medical stuff, all that stuff. Like that's why he's ahead. He's also young. That helps out. He's not like
And I
an old
think that,
man.
and one thing that it could be too is there's a bunch of conspiracies behind this. For one, he's young, like you said, he's super young. Number two, I think he had the Achilles surgery the night up, but they did not release it. So I think it was right after. And again, the medical staff in Boston, like you said, I mean, one of the best, if not the best, in the whole United States.
Yes,
So
sir.
it's like the things that he's doing, and he's talking again. He said this on ESPN. He's talking to guys such as, who is he talking to? Damian Lillard, Tyrese Halliburton. He said DeJounte Murray is another guy he's been keeping close tabs with, talking about them. And again, like you said, though, instead of saying drugs, though, I'm going to say prescription medicine. The medicine in Boston, they might have found some better ones to help his recovery and stuff. I don't know.
They're the best at that. So
They are.
I wouldn't be surprised.
So I look at this, though. I really look from this perspective, and I see his timeline. I think he should just sit the year out. Like, I love what Coach AJ said. So go back to the draft special as we hear what he said too. Is he was like, if we make a playoff run, maybe put him on the bench, suit him up, but don't play him. Give them a little fear factor, make the team be like, oh, Tatum's back. Whoa. But I look at this and I'm like, if you give him the whole year and you give him this season, and this could be another perspective, the whole off season, he's been recovering. He's been working on his Achilles to strengthen it to play. However, he has not been in the gym. He has been in the gym. He has not been, and he might be. He might be studying film and stuff. However, I don't know because, again, I'm not in the NBA, but I feel like his training is a lot less than what it could be on an off season where he's not having to deal with an Achilles recovery. So I look at this, that just gives him extra time to boost his game and come back even better than he was when he went down previously before the Achilles. I might be wrong with that, but what are your thoughts, Lewis?
Sorry, I'm thinking about how to fix his Achilles and he could come back faster. Maybe, maybe like rubbing it or something. I don't know, man.
Lewis is thinking.
Lewis
is thinking about all the thoughts. Lewis
that's
is like,
what I'm literally thinking right now.
Lewis is like, how can we go help Jason Tatum?
You think I can fix it with a couple like rubbing it and stuff like?
Lewis is all right. Lewis, you know what? Let's call up to Boston and say, hey, you know what? We don't need your
lotion.
Doctor Lewis is going to go help Jason Tatum.
I think I could fix that.
But we look at
maybe like giving him a little massage and stuff.
I don't know.
Cold water and stuff. Yeah, some lotion.
I don't know, Lewis. I don't know. I think their medical staff is a little bit better. See, you guys, we all love and embrace Lewis, but we keep it friendly here as Lewis is.
It's like the Roman. You heard of Roman Anthony's injury recently?
Yeah. What about? Yeah, with his oblique, right? Wasn't it oblique?
Yeah, his left side.
Yeah.
If at that time I was going crazy for him, like I wish I could have access to be close to him.
Would you give him? Would you donate your oblique?
No, I think I could fix his. Maybe like a couple rubs, like a couple massage, maybe.
Lewis, they are smart there in Beantown, bro. They know what they're doing. But
like maybe I could fix it, like with a handgun.
Oh, like a massage gun? No, they be using massage guns.
Like maybe you could like rub it. You could rub it, and he's good to go.
No, Lewis, I think you're cut off of the. You're really done with the Achilles talk because you were on it at first, but now we're a little. But Lewis, going back on track though. Going back on track. What do you in a realistic world? if Jason Tatum says, I am ready to play, if you're Joe Mazzulla, are you playing him, or are you being like, all right, and Celtics ownership, are we saying we're shutting you down for the season, or are you playing him? What are you doing?
I mean, I gotta no. First of all, I will check with the medical staff.
Yeah,
I
no,
will make sure
medical
he's
staff.
100%.
Medical
Cause
staff says, all right, this is medical staff. This is hypothetically. Say we're after All-Star break, coming to the end of the season, kind of. Medical staff says he's fine, but it's up to you guys. Do you guys like he could still recover more, but it's up to you guys. I don't know what the medical staff would have said, but if you're Celtics ownership, do you sit him or are you playing him? Are you letting him get some
I
time?
mean, I will play him because why wouldn't I? I want him to get some time, but also I want to make sure he's fine, 100% sure, because the next you don't want him to get hurt even worse. God forbid,
Exactly.
God forbid, but like you don't want him to. Oh, I want to play so bad this year that I'm rushing this. I'm rushing the process. There's no rush right now. There shouldn't be, and I'm not gonna lie with you. From the way he spoke, I feel like he is.
He is rushing it a little bit.
That's how it seems like. He
I,
he, he said
I
that he has
agree.
he has 3 sections a week. He's
Yeah,
been doing the 3 sections a week and stuff.
yeah, he was talking about it, and I now I love Tatum, and I respect.
And he got offended too.
Yeah, he was like,
You
"Who
could
said?"
tell
He was like, "Who said that?"
when Steve said it, when he said it, Stephen A said like you're probably not playing you're not playing this year, and right away like boom. By the way, I never said I'm not out for the season. So you see what I mean? It's like you could tell right away like bro wants to play so bad, but there's no rush. We're doing an experiment this year, so what's the point of rushing you?
Exactly. And I look at that, and I love what you said right there. I think there's no rush. Again, there's no rush. Like, if there was a rush to get Tatum back, the only way I could see a rush on him coming back is if we kept the team that we had. And Wick said, again, this is another thing that Wick said. Wick Roseberry said, this could have happened with ownership regardless if we sold the team or not. So I look at this and it's like, all right, this still could have been the case. So if you look at this, say in a crazy world, they're like, all right, let's bring back Drew Holiday, let's bring back Porzingis, let's go with it. And there's a playoff push. Maybe you could see a little more rush in Tatum's game because they're like, all right, we need Tatum to come back for the playoffs. However, this is an experimental year. This is a bridge season for the Celtics. Now, they might blow me out of the water and be like, hey, look, we're a number 2 seed going into playoffs. Like, we're a lot better than you thought. However, this is a season where I don't see, like, they totally could be. They totally could shock me. However, this is a season where I see it being more experimental rather than competitive. I think they're going to play competitive basketball, but I think at the same time, it's going to be a little less intense. It's going to be a little less, all right, championship or die this year. That's been their motto the last couple of years. I think it's going to be less of that and more so we're going to develop and build.
No, yeah, and it's understandable. You get me? At some point, and you gotta go through this. But I'm also like a little upset with those fans that are like, "Oh, I'm not watching the Celtics this year." When the Celtics have always been there, you get me? They always been in those type of playoff games and pressure games. You get me?
Oh, yeah.
What was the last time we missed the playoffs?
Go look that up. Go check that out because I'm not even 100.
Because
I
I'm not gonna lie
remember
with you.
there's
Since I
been
have memory, since I have memory, they always make the
here.
playoffs.
Let me look it up. Let me look it up. Here, keep talking about that for a second while I look it up.
Yeah, because I remember young Jason Tatum versus LeBron James, 2018, and all that. I remember that, and that's
2006, 2000. The last time the Boston Celtics missed the NBA playoffs in the 2006-2007 NBA season. This was their first absence from the postseason in 10 years. Isn't that crazy? 2006, 2007. That's when I was born in 2006. All right. I'm sorry I'm leaking it out there, but I was born in 2006. So
You
that
see what I mean? Your whole
like,
lifetime, they always make it to the playoffs.
since
And this,
I've been set, all right. So the first year I was born, the Celtics did not make the playoffs. Ever since then, the Celtics have been in the playoffs. So it's like they're
so
still,
they got like 18
and
years.
they've had some pretty mediocre teams to say the least, and they're still in the playoffs. So it's like, why are we all worried?
Yeah.
Yeah, like they're still going to be competitive.
And also right away comparing this situation with the Red Sox, it's not the same. It's not the same. Comparing, because the Red Sox did the same. The Red Sox traded everyone, and right away the Red Sox were ass.
Yeah,
And it's like, why are we comparing this? Because for a fact the Red Sox haven't. The Red Sox have a 4 years without clinching, without going to the postseason. So literally, I have seen in my lifetime, the Celtics always make it to the postseason. That's crazy, and that's what you want as a franchise. You always want to make it. You always want to be part of it because you never know what could happen. But we also brought some championships on the way as well. But that's how. But because we're having like, okay, our best superstar, our best player, he might not play this year. This is a perfect timing. And then for 2027, he 2026, 2027, he might come back. We could like start spending, and we know what youngsters that we should have in the team for that run, because it's not like Tatum is getting old. He's young. Brown is also young as well.
you said it right there, and I think you said it, Lewis. I love that, and I'm gonna say this. I think Celtics Nation Rise as a whole, our perspective is give him the season off. Like, give him the season off.
Yeah.
Start fresh in 2026, 2027 season. That's
And play around with the youngsters. Play around with them. Let them in the court. And let's see what happens. You never know. They could shock people. They could shock us. There's a lot of people that are down on them. I could tell you that right now. And then in the middle of nowhere, if they shock us, there you go. If we never did this experiment, we would have never known. But that's part of the process. And I know that people hate, like, oh, it's a wasting a year, but it's part of the process because this is not the last year of the world. The season's gonna keep going. The Celtics are always gonna beat there in October. They're always gonna beat there every year. So that's part of it.
you got me fired up, Lewis, and I tell you what, I have nothing else to say on that behalf about that conversation, because point blank, like, Celtics are going to be competitive regardless this season. Celtics will be competitive this season, and next season they're going to be competitive once again.
Yeah.
And Tatum will have a fresh new start. Tatum will have a whole season to prove himself. And this is the thing: Tatum is an MVP caliber player. If he starts well after All-Star break, he won't even be mentioned for MVP. Don't you want to come back and have a comeback story and be the next best thing and everything? I look at that, and that's what I see from the perspective. And I think great things are ahead of Boston because they're young. They're young, they're talented, and that's what it is.
And yeah, also another thing is that if Tatum wasn't hurt, that would be a different story.
It would.
It will be different.
It would be different. But Tatum's hurt. He's not playing.
Yeah. But that would be the only difference if he wasn't hurt, but he is. Exactly. It could have been they could have probably spent money, but that's not the case right here. So we just gotta move on and wish for the best. Hope for the best.
Exactly. Well, Lewis, we gave a great explanation for it, but now it's time. Lewis, can you stand up and show us your shirt real quick? Move the camera down. So the Red Sox fire shirt, by the way, my brother has it too.
Really?
The Red Sox released those new City Edition jerseys this year. Have you seen the City Edition jerseys the Celtics have had this year?
Yeah, I actually saw them. They were white.
Boom.
Yeah.
Boom. There we go.
They look fire. They're fire, bro.
All right, while that is pulled up, I'm gonna say the leaks.
That's fire.
The leaks were true. The leaks were true. All right. So when we pulled this up a couple months ago, we were like, oh, I don't know. The only thing I don't see on it is the parquet. It was showing parquet on it, and you could see those are clear white jerseys with gold trim, and they're basic, but they're nice. I like the gold, and I think a lot of people are happy that they're not these. I think a lot of people are happy they're not these. But Lewis, I want to ask. So, first of all, we were ranking the jerseys this year, and I want to hear your rating 1 through 10. I'm gonna pull it back up. What do you rate these jerseys 1 through 10, and why?
That one that you just showed me, I don't like that one.
Oh no, this one, the
No,
one that
no, no, no. I'm just saying the
gold.
ones you had in your hand.
This one.
I don't like that one.
All right. What are your thoughts on their City Edition jerseys this year? No green, just gold. What are your thoughts?
Looks cool. Looks different. Jason Tatum would rock it, rock. Like he would look so fire with it because he has style, he has flow. But nah, they're nice. I will give them a solid 8. I
I
will
agree.
definitely
I'll give them a 7.5 8. I'm
7.
I'll say it 7. No, I'll say it 8. I'll say it 8. I like, I think they should have had those jerseys last year coming off the championship.
Yeah, it looks like
Like,
that. To be honest,
look at
yeah.
their hats last year. These were the championship hats that they had on night. Imagine this. Imagine for the ring night ceremony. They had the hats on, like going into it. They had the hats on. They had those
It
beautiful,
matches.
they had those beautiful white gold jerseys, and then they pull out those after. Imagine that last year. Those should have been last year's City Edition
No,
jerseys.
yeah, definitely.
That's my only beef with it because it's like they're going for the gold season. But I agree. I'll go at 8 for them. I like these ones.
And yeah,
I
you actually said it. They look like a jersey when they win the championship. That's the type of. That's what I'm getting. That's how it looks like. They should have definitely game one in last year in the TD Garden should have been like that with that type of jersey because it looks the gold. We just came off of winning the championship, but and it matches with a hat to it matches.
and I'm gonna pull it back up. I will say because we have to critique here, I will say one thing I am like there's no green on it. It's very basic on the front, very basic font, but it gives inspiration from the old jerseys. And then another thing I would have liked it a little more with the parquet on it, like we were seeing from the jersey leaks. However,
Mhm.
I still like the jerseys. I'm gonna get my annual Tatum jersey. I always get the City Edition jersey. So we will get the Jason Tatum City Edition jersey. And look, Tatum's out, and they're still again throwing Tatum out there. They're going ahead with the Tatum jersey sales, but I like those. And
You
again,
getting that right away?
I'll be getting it come off December around Christmas time. I'll be getting my jersey then. Do you have a
Tatum?
I will be getting the Tatum one. I have Tatum. I started packing from Florida, but I have Tatum's every single City Edition jersey since, geez, I don't even know when. I don't even know when. It's been that long. Like I've had every year. I've lost a couple along the way. Like I don't know how I lost them. Maybe someone stole them. I'm not sure, but I've lost one or two of them. However, I've had almost every single Tatum City Edition jersey. I do have to say, and once I get back from Florida, maybe I will be making purchases to get the ones that I don't have anymore. So maybe that's in store for me. Or maybe you guys could like and subscribe and turn post notifications on and help me with my Tatum jersey collection. It's just how it is, like
Yeah.
I'll put the jerseys in person, like rate the fabric and everything for you guys. And maybe hey, if we get this video to a good amount of likes and subs, if we blow up from this video, maybe we'll give away one of those new Tatum jerseys. And maybe
I heard.
maybe we will, but they're nice jerseys. Ultimately I think they're better than these ones, I do have to say. I like them better than these. Still, little lack of creativity. However, I like them. The white and gold is beautiful. I like the siding a lot on them. I like what they were doing with it. However, I'll give it a 7 or 8. I'll go. My final rating though will be an 8, I guess. But if I was really just because I'm a Celtics fan, however, if I was like really in depth and I'm like, ugh, I don't like that, I would go like a 7.2, 7. I don't know. But Lewis, my final question for you is: do you have one of the Red Sox City Connect jerseys, the new ones? Not even the jersey.
Now this is why.
Oh,
You
we get
know,
guys.
this year I've been going to Boston, and every time I go to Boston,
They're like
I
$200 there, aren't they?
250.
250? At that point, just go to another Sox game. Jeez.
Literally. I was gonna buy one, but then I was like, I'm just for $300 more, I could stay in the hotel for one more night. And I did that instead. I went twice this year to Boston, but to a hotel. I'm in debt right now, so
Lewis, I tell you what, you have to come up to a main Celtics game or
I was right in front of TD Garden.
So Lewis,
From my window, like I actually fall asleep watching TD Garden, like literally like this.
Lewis, I'm telling you what, you, David, and I, like we've been talking and talking. Us three need to make the trip to a Celtics game. David, this is inspired by you. We are gonna make a trip to a C's game this year. This is the year to do it, isn't it, Lewis?
No, definitely, yeah. And now that I'm down to go more to Boston. At first I never gone, but by myself driving.
So
Now
you were
I'm
driving.
no, yeah. Now I drive.
Jeez, just come drive up to Maine next time. What are you doing?
That's 7 hours away. That's different.
All right. Well,
from where I live to you right now, 7 hours.
Whew. Well, Lewis, when I tell you what, Lewis, when sometime soon we're gonna make the trip and we're gonna video it and we're gonna make it a whole vlog on this channel or something like that.
Yeah.
But
how far do you live from Boston?
I won't. We'll talk about this later, you know. But we'll talk. We're close. We'll make the trip. But Lewis, do you have any final thoughts before we close it out? We talked about a lot. We covered, ownership, Tatum, and we covered the new City Edition jerseys. Any final thoughts?
No, that for now that's it until more news pop up. But yeah, I mean, you already saw. You already know how we feel about the Celtics. We're not, I'm not being negative about the Celtics and stuff. And
Very positive. I think.
I'm rock and rolling with what we've been doing recently.
I agree. I think this was a very positive podcast, bearing some of the news with new ownership and everything. But again, we're going to give you guys extreme coverage for the rest of the off season into regular season. Again, you guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe and turn on post notifications to be notified every time we upload. Again, breaking news, whether it's breaking news or we're giving you Celtics content, we will keep you guys updated. So make sure to turn on post notifications and stay tuned for the rest of our off season coverage. And we're kicking off the regular season in less than a month. So stay tuned, you guys. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe. Peace, y'all.
Peace.